We spent much of the show yesterday discussing that video that Donald Trump posted where he tried to clarify his stance on abortion and abortion rights and just outraged everyone because he spent a good amount of time reminding Americans that he is to blame for the overturning of Roe v. Wade through the justices he got in the court, and thus all of these horrific bans. And this is especially relevant with the recent today Arizona Supreme Court ruling that we'll talk about later in this segment. But he is to blame for causing the domino effect that led to all of the horrific things we're seeing across the country. But also, he didn't go far enough in calling for a national abortion ban in this video for those in the conservative part of his party. And so sort of everyone got upset at him. And Lindsey Graham was one of the people in his party who spoke out against Trump for this video, saying that, again, it didn't go far enough for Lindsey Graham, which is obviously rather incorrect, but is causing a rift in the GOP among Trump supporters. And I want to walk you through, as I already showed you a little bit of the responses that we've seen here, I want to show you Trump then lashing back out at Lindsey Graham and completely throwing him in the garbage can. This is how it goes with Trump. You can embarrass yourself a bunch of times publicly like Lindsey Graham has done. You can throw your dignity in the trash in service of Trump, but you once cross him and all of that loyalty does not matter, which is what we're going to see here. Trump does not take betrayal well. Okay, so before getting to the important breaking news on the Arizona Supreme Court ruling that is horrible, let me walk you through this clash between Lindsey Graham and Donald Trump. I'm going to really quickly pause your viewing of this video to ask you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button plus the like button as well and the alert bell so you get notifications. Back to it. So Lindsey Graham posted after Trump posted his video, "I respectfully disagree with President Trump's statement that abortion is a states' rights issue. Dobbs does not require that conclusion legally, and the pro-life movement has always been about the well-being of the unborn child, not geography." And then he goes on to explain his reasoning, but then Trump posts on Truth Social a series of posts, and it gets to him fully saying, essentially, out with Lindsey Graham, which, given the fact that at Trump rallies, the Trump supporters already have been booing Lindsey Graham, I can't imagine what this is going to do to Lindsey Graham's support among MAGA. Senator Lindsey Graham is doing a great disservice to the Republican Party and to our country. At first, he wanted no abortions under any circumstances. Then he was up to 6 weeks where you're allowed abortion. Now he's up to 15 weeks where you're allowed abortion. But what he doesn't understand, or perhaps he does, oh no, malicious, is the radical left Democrats who are destroying our country will never approve anything that the Republicans want. They love this issue and they want to keep it going for as long as Republicans will allow them to do so. It's not so much that we love the fact that this issue needs to be discussed so much, because the reason it has to is devastating. We have to talk about this issue so much right now because of the horrific actions being taken by lawmakers across the country in stripping away the rights of women. So I would love to not have to panic about this issue, but we do have to because of Trump, because he got those justices on the court who overturned Roe v. Wade, who enabled the actions we've seen since. Then Trump escalated, or we'll get to the escalation. First, here's one more post on this. "Senator Lindsey Graham and Marjorie Dannenfelsner should study the 10th Amendment and states' rights. When they do, they should proudly get on with helping Republicans to win elections rather than making it impossible for them to do so." Then here it is. "I blame myself," Trump says, "for Lindsey Graham. I blame myself for Lindsey Graham because the only reason he won in the great state of South Carolina is because I endorsed him." So banishing Lindsey Graham from MAGA. Now, I brought up the Arizona Supreme Court decision. I want to discuss that really quickly because it applies to this conversation, then get back to the Lindsey Graham Trump feud and remind you of the lengths to which Lindsey Graham has been willing to go to serve Donald Trump and how quickly now Trump will throw him under the bus. But first, NBC News reports Arizona Supreme Court rules that a near total abortion ban from 1864 is enforceable. The Arizona Supreme Court ruled Tuesday that a 160-year-old near total abortion ban still on the books in the state is enforceable, a bombshell decision that adds the state to the growing list of places where abortion care is effectively banned. The ruling allows an 1864 law in Arizona to stand that made abortion a felony punishable by 2 to 5 years in prison for anyone who performs one or helps a woman obtain one. Just dangerous and horrific stuff there. And that's now the enforceable law on the books. Underlining and heavily emphasizing the need for abortion rights to be enshrined in federal law. Here's just being reported on by a local news station.
ABC 15 Mornings breaking news.
And we are staying on top of breaking news here at ABC 15. A historic ruling just handed down from the Arizona Supreme Court on abortion access in our state. We just got our hands on that official opinion. The justice's ruling to reinstate a near total ban on abortions in a law that was created back in 1864 before Arizona was a state. The law does allow for exceptions, but only if a woman's life is in danger. That is the only exception in this law.
So as I've now said multiple times, and many people have been saying this, when Trump takes credit for the overturning of Roe v. Wade, Americans need to remember and need to connect in their mind to Trump what that means. Because Trump's trying to do this sort of, I have no position now. States can do what they want. See, I'm not as extreme on this issue as some other Republicans. But that's not Trump's record. Trump's record is being the one who allowed for these horrible laws to be on the books and then enforced, and new ones to be written and implemented in states across the country. He has to be the one that Americans attach in their mind those horrific outcomes to. And it's been too easy for people to abstract that concept in their mind, and they sort of see and reject and oppose the extreme bans being put into place in red states across the country, but then don't associate that with Trump. And that needs to be what people associate it with, given that if it weren't for him becoming president in 2016, none of this, or 2017 after the 2016 election, none of this would be happening. And that's the message that needs to be loud and clear. Not to mention, him saying he's not for a national abortion ban is not something we should believe, given his record on honesty. Now, getting back to Lindsey Graham, I just want to remind you, Lindsey Graham went from saying this.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for.
And then put his finger to the wind, noticed Trump was the person the party was consolidating around, and turned into this.
Calls a unreliable dirtbag. So what's behind all this? Hatred. They tried to destroy Kavanaugh because they wanted to keep the Supreme Court seat open. They're trying to destroy Donald Trump because they fear him at the ballot box. To the conservatives out there, make sure you vote. If you got friends, make sure they vote. If you don't have any friends, go make some friends. But you need to help this man, Donald J. Trump. They're trying to drain him dry.
So he was so willing to embarrass himself in the most brutal fashion, time and time again, just so he could be near relevance and power and could be in the good graces of power and for political advantage. And after years now of everyone in the rational world being embarrassed watching what's going on with Lindsey Graham, begging for people to donate to Trump after correctly acknowledging how bad Trump was, Trump's willing to go whoop under the bus, or not even under the bus, that's the wrong metaphor, just, I don't know, chucking him aside. Out with Lindsey Graham. I never liked him anyways. I blame myself for even allowing him to be accepted by MAGA, even though it didn't seem like Lindsey Graham ever really was accepted by MAGA. So that's how quick it happened. And as people have pointed out so many times, this is what loyalty to Donald Trump gets you. Nothing. Please make sure you're subscribed to this channel.